I still remember the night like it just happened yesterday. It was the start of senior year, that weird time when everyone's trying to prove something. You're either going out big or fading into the background, and I wasn't about to fade. So when Chris texted me, "Big party at my cousin's place, parents gone, it's gonna be wild," I didn't even think twice. I was in. It was a Friday night, early fall, still warm enough to wear shorts, but you could feel the bite of September creeping in, the kind of night that feels like something's about to happen. You just don't know what yet. Chris picked me up around 9. We pulled up to the house, a big place way out in the suburbs, the kind with a long driveway, a half-lit porch, and a backyard that backed into woods. Music was already thumping from inside, and people were spilling out onto the lawn, laughing, holding red cups, acting like this was gonna be the best night of the year. It looked normal. It felt normal. But if I had paid closer attention to the little things, the unfamiliar face in the upstairs window, the motion light in the backyard that kept flickering on with no one there, maybe I would have left before everything went sideways. Chris introduced me to a few people, and soon we were deep in the party. Loud music, spilled beer, that smell of sweat and cologne and someone's cheap weed, a couple making out aggressively in the hallway like it was the last night on earth, the kind of stuff you expect. I was having a good time, honestly, talking to a girl named Hannah who kept touching my arm when she laughed. People danced, someone brought out a speaker for the backyard. It was just chaos, in a good way. But then, about an hour in, I noticed a guy I didn't recognize. He was standing in the corner of the living room, half in the shadows, not talking to anyone, just watching. At first I thought, whatever, maybe he's just shy. But 20 minutes later, I saw him again, upstairs this time, standing in the hallway, just outside the bathroom, same look on his face, blank, like he wasn't even there for the party. I nudged Chris. "Hey, you know that dude in the black hoodie?" Chris shrugged. "Nah, he came with someone, I guess." "You guess?" "Dude, it's a party. People bring people." He wasn't wrong. That's just how parties work. You bring your crew, and your crew brings theirs. But something about this guy, it just felt off. No drink, no friends, no purpose. I brushed it off, chalking it up to being a little paranoid. I'd had a drink or two, maybe I was just being weird. Around midnight, things started to shift. The crowd thinned a little, some people left, some passed out in spare rooms, the music got quieter. Someone broke a lamp and laughed like it was hilarious. Chris was flirting with a girl in the kitchen, and I was texting Hannah, trying to find her after she wandered off. That's when I got the first message. "Unknown number, no name, no profile pic. Why are you looking for her?" I froze. I stared at my phone, confused. I typed back, "Who was this?" No reply. I tried calling Hannah. It rang once, then voicemail. I asked around. No one had seen her since she went upstairs about 20 minutes ago. My guts started turning. That weird guy popped into my head again. I made my way upstairs. The hallway was quiet now, too quiet. One of the bedroom doors was half open, the light inside flickering like it was about to go out. I pushed it open. Empty. The bed was a mess, not unusual for a party, but what caught my eye was Hannah's phone sitting on the floor. Screen still lit. It had a cracked corner, like it had been dropped. I picked it up. A message was still open. "You shouldn't have come upstairs." That was it. Nothing else. No name, no reply, just those words. I looked around. Closet door, slightly ajar. Bathroom, empty. Window cracked open. Everything in me told me to go downstairs, grab Chris, and bounce. But instead, like a damn horror movie cliche, I checked the closet. Nothing. Then, just as I turned to leave the room, my phone buzzed again. Same number, new message. "You're next." This story seems to be getting scarier, doesn't it? If you want more stories like this, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. This helps create even more scary for you. I know what you're probably thinking. Just leave, grab your stuff, get your friend, and walk out. But it's not that easy when you're in it. When it's happening in real time, your brain tries to find normal in the chaos. I stared at the message, "You're next." A part of me wanted to believe it was some sick prank, that maybe Hannah was messing with me, or someone stole her phone and was screwing around. But something deep in my chest felt heavy, tight, like my body knew something my mind hadn't caught up with yet. I rushed downstairs, trying to keep it together. Chris was still in the kitchen, laughing with a couple people, clearly tipsy. I pulled him aside. "Dude," I said, "something's wrong. I can't find Hannah. I think someone's messing with her." He blinked at me, half smiling. "Wait, what?" "Look at this." I showed him the texts. He read them, and the smile faded. "This is some weird-ass shit," he muttered. We tried calling Hannah again, straight to voicemail. Then Chris said something that still creeps me out. "You remember that guy in the hoodie?" "Yeah. I haven't seen him since you pointed him out. No one knows who he came with. He just disappeared." We asked around. Most people had no clue. A few said they maybe saw him outside. One girl said she thought he went down the hall toward the garage, but wasn't sure. That's when I noticed something strange. Near the back of the house, past the laundry room, there was a door. A small, narrow one with peeling white paint. I hadn't seen it earlier in the night, and I'd walked through that hallway twice. Maybe I missed it, maybe not. But what made my skin crawl was that it wasn't even shut all the way. It was cracked open, like someone had just gone in. Chris hesitated. "Dude, do not open that." But I already was. Behind the door was a steep staircase, leading downward into pitch black. No light, no sound, just air, cold, damp, unmoving. "I'll be quick," I said. "Just check, make sure she's not down there." Chris didn't follow. He just stood at the top, watching me go down. I pulled out my phone, using the flashlight. The basement was unfinished concrete walls, a few old boxes, random junk, the kind of place you don't want to be in even on a good day. I called out, "Hannah?" Silence. Then creaking, floorboards above me. Someone was walking upstairs. "Chris?" I shouted. No answer. I looked up the stairs. The door was still open, but I couldn't see Chris anymore, just the dim light from the hallway. "Yo, if you're messing with me, it's not funny." Still nothing. Then my flashlight landed on something in the corner. A mattress. Old, stained, laid out on the floor. Next to it, a half-empty water bottle, some food wrappers, and a phone charger plugged into a long orange extension cord. Someone had been living down here. And recently. I turned to run back upstairs, heart pounding, but my foot hit something. A camera tripod. Facing the mattress. Sat up, ready. And next to it, a small duffel bag. Inside, duct tape, gloves, a hunting knife in its sheath. That's when I heard the door slam shut above me. I sprinted up the stairs two at a time, slamming into the door, locked, not jammed, locked, from the outside. "Chris," I shouted, pounding the door. No response. I stood there, frozen, my phone shaking in my hand. I tried calling Chris straight to voicemail, tried texting, nothing. Then, my phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. "You shouldn't have come down here either." That's when the lights cut out. Everything gone. Just black. I've never felt that kind of fear, the kind where your ears ring because the silence is so loud, where your mind races through every possible ending and they're all bad. I backed away from the door, hand on the wall, trying to find my way back to the corner where I found the bag. I figured if there's a weapon, I might need it. Then another buzz. I looked down. A video message. I pressed play. It was me, descending the stairs. Just a minute ago, the video was taken from the shadows, shaky, close, like whoever filmed it was right behind me. The message cut off. Another one came in. A photo. Hannah, blindfolded, sitting on the basement floor, wrists duct taped, mouth covered. And behind her, barely in frame, that same figure in the hoodie. I dropped the phone. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, shaking, knowing this wasn't just some party gone wrong anymore. Someone planned this, and now, it was my turn. I stood there in the basement, my phone still glowing dimly in my hand. The screen showed Hannah, gagged and blindfolded, her knees pulled up to her chest, her breathing shallow, and behind her, the figure in the hoodie motionless, faceless, just there. I didn't know what to do. Calling the cops seemed obvious, but there was no signal. Of course, basement like this, thick concrete walls, I was cut off. I tried the door again, slamming my shoulder into it. Nothing. I checked the bag again, this time with shaking hands. The knife was real, sharp, not something you casually carry to a party. I gripped it, feeling sick. I didn't want to hold it, but something told me I might need it. I went back down the stairs, following the faint beam of my flashlight, past the mattress, past the tripod, deeper into the basement. That's when I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A second door, half hidden behind a hanging bedsheet, nailed to the rafters like some makeshift curtain. I pulled it aside. The door was wooden, heavy-looking, with a padlock on the outside, but the padlock was open, just hanging there. I pushed the door open slowly, and I swear the air got colder. It was a storage room, but not like the rest of the basement. This place was used recently. Blankets on the ground, shelves with canned food, a camping lantern, an empty water jug, a plastic bin filled with clothes, men's and women's, random items, hair ties, receipts, an old iPod, a toothbrush, and then another phone. I picked it up, dead battery, but something about it felt off. I put it in my pocket, figuring I could charge it later. On the wall, written in Sharpie, were numbers, dozens of them, phone numbers, some crossed out, some with names, some just bare numbers. It wasn't just Hannah. Whoever was doing this had done it before. I backed out of the room, my heart pounding like a drum in my ears. Every step I took felt too loud. I kept expecting him to lunge out from the shadows, but nothing happened. Not yet. When I made it back to the stairs, I heard something. Footsteps. From above. Slow, heavy, not pacing, moving, from one side of the house to the other. I held my breath. Then something scraped across the floor. A chair, a table, and then silence. I called out again, desperate now. Chris? Nothing. I started hitting the door again, over and over, screaming. My voice cracked. Still nothing. That's when I remembered the window. Earlier, I saw that one of the small basement windows was slightly cracked open. If I could pry it open more, maybe I could squeeze through. I ran back to it, dropping the knife on the way. I needed both hands. I shoved my fingers under the edge, forcing the rusty window open inch by inch. It groaned, and for a second I thought it might shatter. Finally, there was just enough room. I pulled myself up, scraping my elbows on the frame, shoving my body through. Outside air hit me like a wave, cold, fresh, terrifyingly quiet. I rolled onto the ground, breathing hard. I was out. I didn't wait. I bolted across the backyard toward the front of the house. Lights were still on, music still playing. It looked like nothing was wrong. I ran inside through the side door, into the kitchen. People were still there, drinking, talking, laughing, like this was just a normal Friday night. I grabbed the first person I saw. Where's Chris? They blinked at me, confused. He left like 15 minutes ago. Said something came up. What? I pushed past them, heading for the living room. I needed a charger. I needed someone who could call the cops. But before I could say anything, I saw him. The guy in the hoodie. Across the room. This time, he was holding a beer, talking to someone, smiling. I froze. He blended in, like nothing had happened. But I'd seen the basement. I knew what he was. I turned to the nearest person, some girl with a septum ring and bleached hair. That guy, the one in the hoodie, do you know him? She looked over. Oh yeah, that's Kyle. He's friends with Darren. Why? My stomach dropped. He's not Kyle, I said quietly. He's not friends with anyone, he's not even supposed to be here. I didn't even wait for her reply. I grabbed a charger off the counter, plugged in Hannah's phone, and waited. It was an older model, took forever to boot. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. Finally, it lit up. One notification, 25 missed calls, all from the same number, labeled Mom. Then it buzzed again, a new voicemail. I hit play. Her mom's voice came through, panicked, breaking. "Sweetie, please call me. I don't know what's going on. The police said you weren't at the school event. If you're with someone named Kyle, get away from him." I looked him up. He's not who he says he is. Click. Message ended. I looked back toward the living room. The guy in the hoodie, Kyle, or whatever his name really was gone. And that's when I realized something that made my blood run cold. This wasn't some random party stalker. He didn't just sneak in tonight. He'd been in the house before we even got here. I stood in the kitchen, gripping Hannah's phone, heart racing. Everything felt surreal, like I was floating outside of myself, watching it all happen from a distance. I had just seen the guy in the hoodie, Kyle, standing there, drinking like a normal guest, laughing. But when I turned back, gone, like he'd vanished into thin air. I ran through the house, living room, hallway, even the garage. No sign of him. I even checked outside, nothing. Either he knew the house better than any of us, or he'd planned his escape perfectly. Or worse, he wasn't done yet. I plugged my own phone into a wall charger, hoping it would power up fast. Meanwhile, I scrolled through Hannah's contacts and found her mom's number. I called. 1 ring. 2. Then she picked up. "Hannah?" "No, it's a friend. My name's Tyler. I was at the party." "Where is she? Where's my daughter?" Her voice was shaking. "I don't know. I'm trying to find her." "Listen, she was here, and then she just disappeared. I found her phone upstairs, and then did she go with Kyle?" "That name again. I don't think that's his real name." There was a long pause, then she said something that made my blood go cold. "He was in our neighborhood 3 weeks ago, hanging around the high school, said he was looking for his cousin." I didn't think much of it until now, and then Hannah started getting weird texts from some number she didn't recognize. I closed my eyes. The basement, the hidden room, the names and numbers. He'd been watching her for weeks, maybe longer. That's when I realized something I hadn't thought about before. What if he never left? What if he was still in the house, just hidden? I ran back toward the basement door, ready to tear it off the hinges, but it was unlocked, wide open. Someone had opened it after I escaped. I stepped down slowly, the flashlight on my phone barely cut through the dark. The room looked the same, mattress, bags, cold air, but there was one difference. The second door, the one to the storage room, was shut. And this time, the padlock was back on. But it wasn't hanging loose. It was locked. From the outside. I leaned in, trying to hear anything. Breathing, movement, nothing. I needed the key, or something heavy enough to break it. I ran upstairs, searching drawers, closets, anywhere someone might keep tools. I finally found a small toolbox in the garage. Inside, a crowbar. That would have to do. Back downstairs, I wedged the bar behind the lock and pulled hard. Crack. It snapped off clean. I hesitated. Then I opened the door. The storage room looked exactly as I'd left it, but this time, there was something new. In the corner, behind one of the blankets, movement. I stepped closer. It was Hannah. Alive. Shaking, pale, but breathing. I dropped to my knees and tore the duct tape from her wrists. "It's me," I said. "It's Tyler, you're okay." She couldn't even speak. She just collapsed into me, sobbing. I pulled her out into the basement, holding her up. We needed to get out, now. As we reached the stairs, my phone buzzed. A text, from my own number. "You shouldn't have let her go." That's when the lights upstairs went out. The music stopped. And in the silence, we heard something that made us both freeze. Screaming. From the first floor. Multiple people. Then a loud crash, like furniture being knocked over. I pulled Hannah up the stairs, heart in my throat. We reached the main floor and burst into chaos. People were running, shoving, screaming. One guy, face bloody, was yelling, "He's got a knife." I pushed Hannah behind me and scanned the room. Kyle. He was in the middle of it all, cutting through the crowd like a ghost, face calm, like none of it even mattered. And no one was stopping him. I looked around for anything, a bottle, a chair, something to use. But then I saw Chris, standing near the front door, frozen, eyes locked with mine. I ran over, grabbed him by the shoulders. "What the hell, man? Where did you go?" He looked different, like the life had been drained out of him. I didn't know," he muttered. "He said he just needed help carrying something, that's all. I didn't think." "You let him in?" His silence told me everything I needed to know. We had no time. Hannah was barely standing. I grabbed her hand and ran toward the back door, dodging people, screams, confusion. The sound of sirens finally echoed in the distance. Someone must have called the cops. We pushed out the door into the yard and didn't stop running. Not until we hit the edge of the woods. Only then did we turn around. The house stood glowing in the dark, full of shadows and blue-red flashing lights. And Kyle? Gone again. Like smoke. But I knew something now. He hadn't just crashed the party. He planned it. He knew the house, knew the layout, knew the people. He'd studied us. And worst of all, he wasn't done yet. 2 days after the party, my phone finally stopped buzzing. News alerts, police calls, classmates texting me nonstop. Everyone wanted to know what happened, what really happened. The stories spread fast. A party turned violent. A stranger among us. 2 people in the hospital. 1 girl missing for hours. Police swarming the house like it was a crime scene because, well, it was. But none of them really knew what happened down there. Not like I did, the night of the party. After Hannah and I made it out, the cops searched the entire property. They found the basement, the hidden room, the knife, the lists, everything, but not Kyle. He disappeared into the woods like a ghost. No prints, no ID, no trail, just gone. I gave them everything, the texts, the photos, even the spare phone I found. They took it all, promised they'd do everything they could, but it didn't matter, because I already knew the truth. 3 days later, I got a call from a blocked number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me I had to. I picked up, said nothing. A voice came through. Low, calm, too familiar. She wasn't the one I wanted. Then the line went dead. I told the police. They traced it, a burner phone, unregistered. No way to follow it. That was when everything shifted in my mind. I kept playing the night over again. The way he watched us, the way he followed Hannah. But something didn't add up. Why me? Why send me the texts? Why lock me in the basement? Why not just take her and leave? Unless that wasn't the point. Hannah tried to go back to school the next week. She made it halfway through second period before breaking down in the bathroom. She moved out of town a month later. I still talk to her sometimes. We don't bring up the party. There's this unspoken agreement. We both want to pretend it's behind us. But I never left. I stayed. And I kept digging. The cops didn't know who Kyle was. No record. No ID. But I had that list, the one on the wall in the basement. I remembered some of the numbers. I searched everyone I could. Most were disconnected. One led to a girl 2 towns over. She hung up the second I said anything about the party. Another number went to a closed Facebook profile, a girl who'd gone missing 2 years ago. Her name was Emily, and that's when I realized something. The way he watched us, the way he acted like he belonged. He didn't want her. He wanted to be one of us. I found a thread online, deep web forum, hard to access. A place where people posted stories, creepy ones, real ones. Someone had written about a guy like him, used fake names, crashed parties, lived in houses before the owners even knew he was there, filmed people, made lists. They called him the guest. I don't know if that was him, but it felt right. The thing is, he never killed anyone, not directly. He just showed up. And then, Things happened, people got hurt, people disappeared. It was like a virus that moved from house to house, group to group, and no one knew until it was too late. Months passed. I stopped sleeping right. Every time I heard a floor creak at night, I checked every closet. Every shadow felt like it was hiding something. Every party invite made me sick. Then, one night, I got another message. Unknown number, no text, just a photo. It was me, sitting at my desk, taken from outside my window. I didn't go to the cops, didn't tell my parents, didn't even respond. I just closed the curtains. That was a year ago. Haven't heard from him since, but I keep my doors locked now. I check the attic once a week. I installed cameras, because even if he's not watching now, he taught me something that night, something I'll never forget. The scariest monsters aren't ghosts. They're the ones who know how to blend in, the ones who smile, the ones who knock on the door, and already know your name. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts on this terrifying story, and subscribe for more spine-chilling horror tales.